What if I told you that one emotional reaction, one moment of panic, can wipe out nearly 80% of your long term market gains? And what if I told you that the exact same mindset is costing people their wealth, their freedom, and even their ability to live a life they're passionate about? This episode of The Big Bo Show is about control. Control over your investing behavior, control over your financial fundamentals, and control over the life you're building. We're diving into what really happened during the April Tariff Tantrum, what most investors got wrong, and the 10 money moves you actually control that could change the trajectory of your future. Plus, I'll share a story about a brisket, a backyard, and a lesson that might just change how you show up for your money and for your life. So stick around, because by the end of this episode, you won't just be informed, you'll be ready to act with integrity, knowledge, and passion. Let's get into it.
Let's take a little flower and turn it into a tree. 'Cause we're harnessing the power that has been passed down centuries. Life in a game, fortune and fame. You're gonna win over time, you know. It's hard to attain, but you're on your way. You're listening to The Big Bo Show.
Brought to you by Julius Wealth Advisors.
This communication was prepared for educational purposes only and should not be construed as investment advice. All opinions or views reflect the judgment of the authors as of the broadcast date and are subject to change without notice. Julius Wealth Advisors, LLC, is a registered investment advisor. Our disclosure brochure, available at advisorinfo.sec.gov or through contacting us, provides further detail about our business, services, and fees.
All right, let's get after it. Let's break down one of the most teachable market moments in recent memory, the April Tariff Tantrum. Let me set the scene. It's April 2nd. The White House drops a new wave of tariffs, targeting allies and adversaries alike. And these weren't small numbers, they were much higher than expected. And what happens? Within hours, the financial media kicks into overdrive. Panic, predictions, play-by-play speculation like it's the Super Bowl. Because, spoiler alert, that's what gets clicks. Suddenly, every desk jockey turned into a geopolitical expert. This could spark a trade war. China's going to retaliate. This is the start of the next recession. And right on cue, the market freaks out. In just 4 trading days, the S&P 500 drops about 12%. We get dangerously close to bear market territory for the year. The tech-heavy NASDAQ, down nearly 25%. But here's the thing. Nothing fundamentally broke. No new earnings data, no true recession signals, no liquidity crisis. Just fear, just headlines, just noise. And a bunch of people, maybe even you, hit the sell button. Now, fast forward to today. The S&P 500 has recovered every single point. The NASDAQ too. Global markets actually outperforming in the US. The market basically shrugged and said, my bad, false alarm. But here's the brutal truth. If you got spooked, if you sold, if you sat out waiting for the things to stabilize, you missed the comeback. So let's talk data. You know I love data. Missing just the 5 best days in the S&P 500 from 1990 through 2023, your total return gets cut by 37%. Miss the top 15 days, you're down 65%. Let that breathe for a second. That's nearly 3/4 of your gains gone. And it gets worse. From 2004 to 2023, 7 of the 10 best days in the market happened within just 2 weeks of the 10 worst. So if you're trying to dodge the path, you likely missed the rebound, which just created more pain. That reminds me of leaving the stadium in the third quarter of the 2006 NBA Finals because the Heat were down, my Miami Heat, only to miss the comeback of the decade, topped by Gary Payton's clutch three-pointer, which propelled the Heat to the NBA championship. Now imagine that kind of behavior over a 30-year investing career. Missed just 20 of the best days from 1990 to 2023? You're down about 80% compared to someone who stayed fully invested. You wouldn't act that erratically as an employee. You wouldn't be that inconsistent as a parent. So why do you do it with your wealth? And listen, this tariff tantrum, it won't be the last panic moment we see. It will happen again. The headlines will scream, the algorithms will amplify it, and the fear will be loud. That's why the lesson here is timeless. You cannot control the market. You cannot control Jerome Powell, the head of the Fed. You cannot control what China does or what new policy drops next quarter. But here's what you can control: your plan, your discipline, your behavior. This is what I call financial jujitsu. You use the market's momentum, its volatility, to your advantage. You don't flinch, you don't swing wildly, you absorb, you stay grounded, you execute. It's the same mindset I use as an offensive lineman. My job wasn't to guess where the defender would go. It was to anchor in, read the pressure, and hold my assignment, one rep at a time. Markets are no different. Your job isn't to guess the next headline. Your job is to protect your future. Stay disciplined and let compound interest do its work. Because here's the truth: no one builds wealth by outsmarting the market. They build it by outbehaving the market. So the next time you hear breaking news or feel that itch to make a move, take a deep breath, pull up your plan, and remind yourself, I control what I control. The rest is noise. And if you don't yet have a plan you trust, that's where we come in. Head over to juliuswealthadvisors.com and download our complimentary wealth building playbook. It's packed with strategy, structure, and behavioral tools to help you build wealth by choice, not chance. All right, now that we've covered what you can't control, it's time to shift gears. Because while the markets will always do what they do, your behavior, your strategy, that's yours to own. Coming up, we'll dive into the Big Bow 10, packed with the money moves you can actually control. But first, a quick break to tell you more about who we are, Julius Wealth Advisors, and how we help high performers like you turn smart habits into real, lasting wealth. Stick with me. We'll be right back.
Start building wealth by choice, not chance, with Julius Wealth Advisors. At Julius Wealth Advisors, your progress and your gains are our measure of success. Experience personal attention to every detail. We create strong financial plans, use time-tested investment strategies, and offer personal coaching to navigate life's inevitable turns. At Julius Wealth Advisors, we provide clients with a concierge experience in a boutique environment. Join us and let our experts guide you on a collaborative path to financial freedom with sound money management principles. Develop your tailored wealth playbook and help secure your financial future. Start strong with Julius Wealth Advisors. Visit juliuswealthadvisors.com or call 201-408-4644. Email info@juliuswealthadvisors.com. Julius Wealth Advisors, where building wealth is by choice, not chance.
Welcome back. We just exposed how reacting to market noise like the April Tariff Tantrum can crush your long-term returns. Now let's flip the script, because while you can't control what the market does, you can control how you show up. And that's where the real edge lies. Not in prediction, but in preparation. So let's break down what I call the Big Bow 10. The 10 money moves you actually control. These are the habits, behaviors, and strategies that build wealth. Quiet, confident, long-term wealth. Let's get into it. Number 1, know the difference between good debt and bad debt. Debt isn't always a 4-letter word, but misusing it can be a financial death sentence. Carrying credit card debt at 20% interest, that's just financial malpractice. $5,000 of spending can easily balloon to over $11,000 with just minimum payments. That's not wealth, that's erosion. But not all debt is toxic. A strategic mortgage, student loans with ROI, or a business loan with clear upside, that can be fuel. The key is this: pay down high interest debt fast, because knocking out a 10% loan is the same as earning a 10% return, risk free. But also understand good debt, low interest rate debt with good tax planning opportunities. Number 2, run your household like a business. Would the CEO of a Fortune 500 company say, "I'm not really sure where our money's going"? Of course not. Your home is your company. Your income is revenue. Your expenses are overhead. Build a monthly and annual budget. Review it like film. Adjust it like a playbook. If you're not tackling your money, you're guessing. And no team wins championships by guessing. Number 3, make investing a mandatory expense. This one's simple. Treat investing like a bill you can't skip. If you make $250,000 a year and invest 10%, that's $25,000 annually. At a modest 7% return, that adds up to nearly $1.6 million in 25 years. Set it, automate it, let compound interest go to work like a seasoned pro. Quiet, steady, relentless. Number 4, build a psychological safety cash bucket. Let's be clear, this isn't sexy, but it's a non-negotiable. Life throws curveballs: job loss, medical emergencies, broken HVACs in the middle of August. Having 3, 6, or even 12 months of expenses saved means you don't flinch. You adapt. This is your financial airbag. You don't want to use it, but when life hits the brakes, it can be the thing that keeps you in the game. Number 5, avoid look at me spending. Don't confuse lifestyle with success. We've all seen it. Luxury watches, first-class flights, Wagyu steaks, but none of that boosts your net worth. Before you make a big purchase, ask, is this feeding my ego or feeding my future? Real wealth is quiet. It shows up as freedom, not flash. Don't chase impressions, build ownership. All right, so now that we've locked in your habits, let's protect your progress, because building wealth isn't just about offense, it's about defense too. So let's move on to number 6. Use proper tax planning. It's your financial offensive line. 401ks, IRAs, Roths, HSAs, SEP IRAs, these aren't just acronyms. They're your tax armor. Max out your 401k and assume an 8% return, you could add over $1.7 million to your retirement pot. And if you're a business owner, the tax planning options are even deeper. With the right advisor and a CPA in your huddle, that tax strategy is about protecting what you earn and unlocking what's possible. Number 7, review your insurance like your wealth depends on it, because it does. Life insurance, it's a must-have if you have a family. Auto, home, umbrella, all essential. And not just the cheapest versions. Get what actually covers your lifestyle and liabilities, because the quote-unquote cheap option today can become brutally expensive tomorrow. Number 8, create and maintain an estate plan. I get it. Estate planning sounds like something for the ultra wealthy, But if you have a family, it's for you. You need the basics: a will, a power of attorney, and yes, maybe even a trust. This isn't about death, it's about protection, intention, and playing the long game. Number 9, maybe one of my favorites: surround yourself with high achievers. You've heard me say it before: iron sharpens iron. If your circle is all about spending instead of building, it's time to rethink your huddle. Hang with the people who challenge you, stretch you, and make you better. People who talk in terms of strategy, not status, freedom, not flex. Your circle is a mirror of your ambition. Make sure it reflects the future you're chasing. And number 10, get a financial coach. You probably can't afford not to. Tom Brady, he had a throwing coach well into his 40s. Did you really think he needed someone to truly teach him how to throw the football? Yes. Into his 40s, the greatest quarterback of all time had a throwing coach to make sure he was sharp. LeBron, he has a performance team fine-tuning every aspect of his game. And even though I'm not a huge LeBron fan, he's still playing at a high level into his 40s as well. So why would you try to build multi-generational wealth without a coach? A great advisor doesn't just manage money. They manage mindset. They help you zoom out, recalibrate, and execute with clarity. That's what I do for my clients. I'm not just a financial planner. I'm a coach, a partner, a strategist who sees your blind spots and calls better plays. A 360-degree approach, seeing the entire picture. That's the Big Bow 10. 10 money moves, all in your control, all proven to help build quiet, confident, sustainable wealth. So forget the Fed. Forget the headlines. Forget the drama. This is your game film. Study it, execute it, own your outcome. And if you want a head start, head over to juliuswealthadvisors.com and download that complimentary wealth building playbook. The same real world framework I use with clients every day. It's packed with practical strategies and no fluff tools to help you build wealth by choice, not chance. So stick around, because coming up next, we got the famous Bo Knows segment, where I'm bringing it all home with a story about Brisket, presence, and the mindset that multiplies everything. So stick with me. We'll be right back.
Get your money right. Bonus. If you got the appetite. Bonus. Get your money right. If you want to get another insight. Win big while setting the score. But there's something that I want to tell you. Bonus. Bonus.
All right, so here's where we bring it home in our famous Bo Knows segment. Let me tell you about last week. I fired up the smoker and slow cooked a brisket for a group of guys in my neighborhood. Not because I had to, not because it was on some checklist. I did it because I love it. Smoking brisket is my thing. It forces me to slow down, be present, and pay attention to the process. There's no rushing it, no shortcuts, just consistent heat, intentional seasoning, and time. And what happened? That internal joy created something external. Conversation, laughter, community. It reminded me of something I see far too often, especially among high performers. We try to be everything to everyone and end up being no one to ourselves. Now let's think back to what we covered today. In segment 1, we broke down the April Tariff Tantrum and how flinching in the face of market noise can cost you dearly. If you miss the best days, you miss the bounce. And in segment 2, we focused on what you can control. The Big Bow 10, the 10 money moves you actually control that build wealth over time. Your behavior, your habits, your plan. And that brings us back to the brisket, because smoking a brisket isn't just a hobby. It's a metaphor. You can't force it. You can't rush it. If you open the lid every 15 minutes to check, you ruin the outcome. Same goes for building wealth. The magic happens when you trust the process, control what you can, and stay disciplined when the heat rises. When you live with intention, whether it's in your finances or your free time, you stop reacting to the noise and start owning the outcome. That's the real edge. And Bo knows this. You build wealth the same way you smoke a brisket. Low and slow, with discipline, patience, and a whole lot of heart. You control the heat, you choose the rub, you ride out the flare-ups, and over time, you end up with something meaningful, lasting, and worth sharing. So stop checking boxes. Start chasing what matters. And always show up for yourself first so you can better show up for others. And if you're ready to take the next steps towards living with more clarity and control in your financial life, call us at 201-408-4644, email us at info@juliuswealth.com, or visit www.juliuswealthadvisors.com. And download our complimentary wealth building playbook, built to help you stay focused, stay consistent, and stay in the game. And remember, building wealth is by choice, not chance. So that's it. That wraps up the show today. Catch you next time on The Big Bo Show, where we tackle money the way it should be, with integrity, knowledge, and passion. And as we always do, we remind you to do the same in your life. All right, take care, stay disciplined, and keep showing up. Until next time, all the best.
Thank you for tuning in to The Big Bo Show.
Let's take a little flower and turn it into a tree. 'Cause we're harnessing the power that has been passed down centuries. Life in a game, fortune and fame. You're gonna win over time, you know. It's hard to attain, but you're on your way. You're listening to The Big Bo Show.
Brought to you by Julius Wealth Advisors.